Few myths are more exciting than tales of great heroes and the foes they encounter in their adventures. Such heroic quests are found in tales from cultures across the globe and throughout history. But there are often striking similarities between such stories. The mighty warrior who's all but invulnerable to harm. The witches and wizards who help or hinder. The menacing giants. The beguiling temptations, the journeys into dark caves or into the depths of the underworld, all are found in tales from different cultures and different times. But what if there was more to these echoes than mere coincidence?
Hello.
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 Hello. Looking good, looking good. You know what I have to say to that, Brock?
Hello.
Okay. 10 seconds for Harambe.
Yes.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Drop Culture podcast. Today we are going to get in deep on a fun subject, but as always, it's myself, Dan, and I'm here with Brock, of course. Say hi, Brock.
That's me.
Mitch is not with us. However, standing in for Mitch, a man that really needs no introduction, but he's going to get one anyways.
Nope.
How we doing, Sean?
I'm doing fine. How about yourself? Thanks a lot,
Welcome back
guys.
to the show, man.
Always
Yes.
glad to be back here tonight.
It has been a long time since you've been on the show, except for if you were listening to our quick cast about a week ago, and Sean was on that.
Yay!
Just showed up.
Yeah, he just kind of showed up. I mean, invited, you know.
Oh, definitely.
Because I'm horrible at scheduling things. People are like, "Oh, it's this," and I'm like, "Cool," and then like right before it's like, "Oh, wait a minute."
That's a different time than I said.
Yeah, I swear to God, I thought you were off on Sunday.
Dude, I'm never off. You know that. I'm too low on the totem pole.
But whenever we agreed on the time you come over, I was like, oh, okay, I guess Sean's off. Well, this week is me and you talked about what we're going to talk about, right? The last time we talked about vampires in cinema, which we had a really good response. A lot of people really liked that episode of ours. A lot of people kind of wrote in and said, hey, man, that was a really, really good episode. So we've always been wanting to get you back on there. And we were trying to think of things to do. Like we talked about doing Frankenstein and things like that. But when we were talking the other day, I thought this would be a great one because really it's the hero's journey, basically.
Right, exactly.
The hero's journey and it's been through time. It's just like in every religion, there's a great flood. But it also, with these stories that are passed down for generations and generations and generations, the hero's journey is something that is embedded in our DNA. I really think that it is a huge deal that we, in the most popular things in our modern day storytelling, not books, but I'm talking about movies,
I would
cinema.
say even with books to some
Yeah,
degree.
well, it relies on this.
Yeah.
And for this guy, Joseph Campbell, to really kind of put this out there, some people don't even realize that they're doing it. And I will, kind of get into that a little bit later. But what really got me, thinking about this subject is because I've always wanted to read this book. So I bought it last week. I still haven't got a chance to sit down and read it. So I still have it. But looking at, I was watching some YouTube video about the making of Mad Max, and George Miller had said that, he kept telling people after the first movie came out, he was like, I don't know why this is so fucking popular, I just don't get it. I like the movie. I made the movie. I love it, but why is everybody so gravitated towards it? And then there's so many different accounts, and we can kind of go with the George Lucas account. Miller and one of his other friends were over in America, and they were visiting George Lucas and Steven Spielberg. So in the early 80s. And he was like, I don't know why Mad Max is so fucking popular, right? And supposedly George Lucas handed him the book, for a hero's journey. I was like, this is why.
Yeah.
Because it's the actual blueprint for anything great. So you go to samurai movies, which are a major influence on Western culture anywhere, but you can even trace this back, which I know if I read the book is probably going to be there, all the way back to like, say, the earliest tale that we ever have. No,
I would say if you're going back to like Mesopotamia,
right?
Think about
Gilgamesh, things
the
like
Iliad,
that. Yeah,
the Greek.
absolutely.
Think about Beowulf, right?
Absolutely.
So right now I have basically the hero's journey kind of pulled out in the life cycle, right? Mm-hmm. So you can look at this and you can look it up on Wikipedia, everything like that. But there is a cycle to this. So you have your main character, right? He gets a call to adventure. Then he gets a little bit of supernatural aid. What is it? It doesn't have to be like a spirit kind of an aid, but some sort of an aid to get there, right?
Right. Supernatural, subjective, especially in today's society.
Right. Then you have the threshold guardian. So you have different levels. It's almost like a video game, right? Mm-hmm. So then you have the threshold, the beginning of the transformation. So this person is kind of being guided by helpers or mentors. And then he runs into all kinds of challenges.
The road of trials.
Yes, challenges and temptations. And then you get to the abyss, which is kind of right down at the very bottom of it. That's the death and rebirth. Mm-hmm. Then after that transformation is still going through, and then you get atonement. Then after that, it's gift. It's the return.
Yeah,
so
you're the boon to your people.
Correct.
For whatever reason.
So then you grow. Now, if you put this in cinema terms, Mad Max is very much there. But also something which was another weird kind of a deal about the newer Mad Max, about the brides. Mm-hmm. There is an ancient Aboriginal tale about 7 brides that were
for 7 brothers.
I was going to say
almost,
that. Thank you.
Almost, right? But they were taken to this special because they wanted to go film there. So they were talking to the tribal elders, and they were all sitting around. And the guy was telling him the story of Mad Max, and he goes, "Well, I know that guy." And so the Aboriginal tribal leader's like, "Yeah, I know who he is." And they're like, "What do you mean?" But that was a story. The 7 brides were basically part of this story that they kind of inherently, that's 2 movies that if George Miller is smart, will keep it under wraps and not really say that's where I got it from.
Well, you think about that, though. I mean, that's everybody gets their story from that, It's from the predecessor using that same format.
Mm-hmm. And it's these are tales, and I feign to use the
tale as old as time.
Exactly, to use that phrase. But at the same time, you got to think that this is there. It's all 100%. There. 100%. So you go back to like Beowulf, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, Beowulf was an incredible story because he swims for how many days in the fucking ocean and fights somebody at the bottom of the ocean. And
fights Grendel and Grendel's mother.
Yeah, cuts off an arm.
The fire drake. Beowulf's an awesome story.
Fucking love that one. Yeah. And then even the 13th Warrior was pretty badass too.
That was a good movie.
I fucking love that movie, man.
That's bastardization of Beowulf. But yes, it was very good.
But more true to tale, because it was based on the Eaters of the Dead for Robert Crichton.
I think it was more of a realistic tale based off of, but I think it was twisted into a time.
Yes,
that was that's what
twisted into that time, and then they had their scribe that was basically telling the Eben, whatever his name was, fucking the dude from Assassins.
Yes.
No, I know it was Antonio Banderas.
Yes, I knew what you meant.
But you think as soon as they started with a lot of these. Just motion pictures. The first motion picture was basically the train where people were like diving out of their seats and shit. Right. They're like, "Oh my God, the train's coming at us, but it's on a screen." No. But then they started getting into these tales because theater was huge. It still is huge. I'm not a big, and I'm going to say huge one more time. Huge.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
So
it's the biggest.
So I'm not really like a big proponent of, theater plays, but I see where that has led to where we're at right now.
Of course.
Then you even go back to the kabuki theater. You go back into the ancient times where people were being entertained on that, but they loved to see the hero's journey.
Yeah, I would say even like your early silent film westerns, there was a lot. And then, I know this is a little bit later, but a lot of this was based on earlier stuff as well, like The Lone Ranger, right? Mm-hmm. He went through his trial where he was, those people that he was with tied him up and whatever, and we're going to leave him to die.
Right.
He was saved by a Native American.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, so, and then, going through those trials, he became something more.
Mm-hmm. He became a hero.
This is every comic book you've ever read in your life goes through this process and has to, because that's what makes a hero.
Think Stan Lee, put that stuff in there. Do you think Stan Lee read that book? Probably at one point in his life.
Even if he didn't read the book, he read the things that the book talks about.
Exactly. So it's something that has gone from generation to generation.
Well, and I think a lot of that comes out of mythology. People study mythology and read mythology, and it's passed down. And again, Campbell was rock solid with his analysis of that. But they may have gotten it secondhand, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
They may not have been
innate understanding through past experiences.
Correct. Right. He understood it because he looked for it. I think everybody else, it was inherent in them to do that. And when you do set out to write an adventure story or a story or anything like that, you go through that journey, even if it's two people or something like that. You look at Clash of the Titans. I'm thinking that movie was totally in the whole deal.
Man, it was like an amalgamation or amalgamation of all those, myths.
The Odyssey. The Odyssey is one of the. I love that story in the way that it has no boundary almost. I mean, he is trying to go home, but yet he left a hero and he's coming back even something different on top of that. He goes through all of those trials throughout the way. And I even like the Kirk Douglas movie, Ulysses. Have you ever seen that one?
Of course.
Oh man, that one, I saw it in school and was like, man, this is fucking awesome.
Well, think of Hercules, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He had the trials of her, the labors. All of those things created him to be a better hero than he was when he got there. He had obviously he had the supernatural portion because his father's Zeus and all that jazz.
Right.
Had another goddess that hated him because he's an illegitimate child, whatever. Bad stepmom problems.
Yeah.
Typical family issues.
Put it into context for the MCU. Mm-hmm. Each one of those people, just like we were talking about cartoons, had their own hero's journey. But together, they adapted more of that into the group going through the hero's journey too. Absolutely. To take on that last one. And that's, again, being in our DNA and being part of everything that we see all the time. You're going to pay attention and it's going to be fucking awesome.
Yeah, I kind of tie it back to in my mind to like Spider-Man. That's always a good one to me because he has to lose Uncle Ben to hit that rock bottom piece. Right.
Well, Batman too.
Yeah.
Parents have to get murdered.
Yeah, but Batman, that's more of the origin of why he went that way. Where with Spider-Man, he gained these powers. So there's your supernatural piece, or if you will. Even though he had those powers, his lack of action caused his uncle to die. Mm-hmm. Therefore, he took on that blame. Great power comes great responsibility. Yep. And now he's morphed into an even more of a hero. You know what I mean?
And and Spider-Man is he's more resonant throughout all of the years that he's been around for every generation.
I think that he's more adaptable. He's more real. He's based more on reality. Where like we've talked in the past, like no hatred for the DC stuff. I love a lot of the DC comics, Batman specifically, Nightwing. Those are some of my favorites. But the thing with Peter Parker specifically is he could be anybody. He's just a kid and he's grounded in reality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where, he's not
he's relatable.
Yeah, he's not a billionaire.
True.
Whether that's Batman, Iron Man, whatever you want to talk about. He's not born a god. So he goes through that transformation from just being a dude.
Yeah.
I would say even Captain America would be another really good one,
yeah. And he becomes a symbol of freedom and whatever else, but he also is not pigeonholed into being a singular kind of a hero.
Right.
He's just a hero for all.
Right.
You know, just like Spider-Man too. Spider-Man's no political affiliation, even though Captain America wears the A and he has the stars and stripes on. He is an embodiment of what America should be.
He's the people of America.
Yes,
yeah,
he is what
the ideals.
Correct, 100%. And he's unscrupulous in doing that, you know? I mean, look at fucking Rocky, man. Come on.
Yeah,
Rocky is the American dream.
Oh, 100%.
Rocky, he comes from nothing. He goes through his trials. He starts at the bottom. He finds his.
Now he's here.
Yeah, he finds everything, and then he becomes a hero. It's what they call the monomyth, basically.
Right.
But with Rocky, it's not every movie is that monomyth storytelling.
Yeah.
Whether it's Rocky 3, Mick dies, right?
His sage.
Right. Rocky 4, Apollo Creed, you know, his former rival and friend, you know, dies.
Yeah.
So he's got to go overcome that, you know, and it's just
A
every
continuation every time.
movie's the same
Yeah.
formula.
Same blueprint.
If you look at
Right now you need a montage.
Right. Yeah. If you look at the overall arc of the Rocky movies too, you start at 1 and you end in even the Creed movies, right? His myth is still growing and his myth is still being there. He has actually gone from the hero to the sage.
Right.
You know, he has become everything that he was meant to be. And that's what it was. I mean, everybody's meant to be in that monomyth. It's that ultimate archetype.
Right.
And Rocky is one of the key players in that throughout our lifetime. Sure. I'm trying to think of like maybe even James Bond too. And more of the newer James Bond movies, they kind of fit more into that because he's got to go through his trials because they started over.
Right.
You know, they kind of rebooted the whole
I wouldn't
series.
say with the older movies that was different.
No.
I mean, they just created like this guy is just so badass. He doesn't go through any real trials that are. I mean, he does, but it's not the same.
But there's no history to show how he acquired his status. He was the status.
Which is one of the reasons like I like that show, the movies, The Kingsman.
Yes.
Those movies are really good because it's where he started, right?
Yep.
You're seeing basically a James Bond style character from the beginning.
That's how the newer ones are. The newer ones with Daniel Craig because he's still a badass, but they start you off kind of at the beginning of his career.
Gotcha.
When he first gets his license to kill or whatnot, you know what I mean? So
does he have a view to a kill?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, he goes through those. He has his major turning point, and it's a nice big arc. But again, at the same time, you got to look at those as a whole to see the full entire hero's journey on that part of it. But you know, I mean, you look at even Alien, the Alien franchise, and putting that same kind of a monomyth in space, they can't hear you scream.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, Sigourney Weaver's character for sure.
100%.
You know?
She's gone through everything and still does, and they bring her back.
Technically, couldn't you say that of Jamie Lee Curtis's characters from Halloween?
100%.
Yeah.
Sure.
She goes through fighting the shape. And I was even thinking about how Charlie Chaplin does kind of almost the same thing too. Even
Depends on the movie, for sure.
Correct. Like the Tramp. Yeah. Was it the Tramp? The one where this a little kid and everything like that? He's got to go through his same shit. But he used that and he reinvented it every kind of episode. Three Stooges, not so much.
No.
They would go plumbing, you know, but I mean, they were never really going to be heroes. So there's a lot of things that have taken from it, but the most popular things that resonate with our culture and our society are those myths. Again, going with samurai movies. Come on. The samurai journey is like highly influential, but also at the same time.
But it's by the books on the monomyth.
It's 100%. Fucking so awesome.
Blueprint. What was the one with, oh God, what is his name? Ceres' daughter. Young daughter with the, oh man, I'm having a bad time here tonight. The Scientologist.
Tom Cruise?
Mission Impossible.
Oh, Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. What was the movie where he was an officer, went to Japan?
Oh, yeah.
The Last Samurai.
The Last Samurai.
That's an awesome
Again,
movie.
another perfect blueprint. Gets himself beaten down, becomes a samurai, goes against his former friends, and if you want to call them that, and defeats them, and becomes the almost a demigod to the emperor.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that movie's fucking great.
It's funny.
one of the
That's
best
I
ones.
love.
Yeah.
That's probably one of my favorite Tom Cruise movies. But it's funny that you described him as Scientologist. We just did the Legend movie.
Yeah.
And that was, I think that was what I put in the description: a young Scientologist.
I'm looking around at the room of everything that we got too. I mean, it's like Kill Bill, right?
Kill Bill, I was just thinking about that. Perfect example.
That's a perfect example, of course. Yeah.
Those to me almost are the set of movies, and you've heard me say it before, that I'll watch over and over again because of the journey that she takes.
But that goes back to my point, whether Tarantino ever read that book or not, which I'm sure he did. He's a smart dude.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that.
Yeah, most of those. Yeah.
But he's watched so many samurai movies.
Yeah, and he's watched so many everything movies.
Right. So whether he got that from that book or not, he got it from the world, from the art that came before him.
Well, and I was thinking about Pulp Fiction, the scene where, Butch and Home Dude, the Butch's whole part, right?
Yeah.
So it starts off with him about his dad keeping the fucking watch up his ass and everything like that,
Walken,
right?
yeah,
right.
with
So, I mean, it's there. Cool. There was two of them going on that journey, but then whenever his girlfriend leaves the watch there, he's got to go into his own war on that part of it.
Right.
So he does the hero's journey just by himself because the main objective is to get the watch, but yet instead of taking it in the ass, somebody else takes it in the ass, just like Christopher Walken had to.
Right.
And then he actually breaks that mold and becomes the hero for
you think about
the other
that.
guy.
Throughout his family, they never have to put anything in their ass.
Except for his dad.
Just the people.
right?
No.
Oh,
it was his
that's
dad's
right.
watch that went in Christopher Walken's ass.
Yeah, well, his dad kept it up his ass, and then he died of dysentery.
Oh, that's true. That
and
is
then he
true.
had to do it. So yeah.
He's the lucky bastard.
Yes, he's
lucky bastard.
He's a lucky one that actually didn't have to take it. And I don't know why I was thinking about that.
there.
Yeah.
Just a bit.
Yeah, but then like the bride, she gets shot at the very opening spot of the movie. She has to go through. She has to learn everything.
She has to trial through the vipers.
She gets the actual the supernatural sword, pretty much.
Yeah,
she
the
gets
Hanzo.
something to kill everybody.
Yep.
Nonstop, and she has to take on those level bosses. You know what I mean?
Yep.
She has to go through it. Bruce Lee was a major deal in that.
Oh, dude.
Think about everything that he did with any of the kung fu movies.
Yeah.
I
Enter
mean,
the Dragon, Game of Death.
Game of Death, even though it was a shitty fucking like Mod Podge of
It was.
even like masks and shit.
Yeah,
like they
yeah.
had like a cardboard cutout of his face while they were in the mirror.
But almost all of his movies were that way.
Yeah.
Though, like on that same
Genre.
well, on the same path, like on the same path through this same monomyth, like the Karate Kid.
Yep.
Right? Those kind of movies.
Karate Kid
The Dirt
hits you.
Bike Kid.
Yeah.
Any movie that has the word kid after it. They have to go through some sort of growth so that they could go
Yeah.
on. I didn't know that I brought in a Dirt Bike Kid reference there. But
The Wizard.
The Wizard. Yeah, he had to do,
Yeah. I think Kurosawa tapped into something whenever he was making the Toshiro Mifune stuff. For one, I mean, it ended up being like he was being put into this one tremendous spot, to create the myths, and he did with Hidden Fortress, which is the Hidden Fortress ended up being Star Wars.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
Seven Samurai, same thing. There was a group of people that got together to take on an evil, but their whole deal was to make money. And then they were like, well, these people are poor, so we're not going to make any money.
So it was basically the story of three amigos?
Pretty much. Three amigos right there. There are so many different things that this plays into, which is great. And this is something that I think will continue on.
I found it interesting
never
that
end.
Stanley Kubrick actually introduced this book to Arthur C. Clarke when they were writing 2001: A Space Odyssey. So I thought that was interesting. Have you guys read this book?
I have it.
You have it or you haven't?
He has it, and I'm interested in it.
Yeah.
Yeah?
So there's some. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've read mythology since I was old enough to read.
Right,
I mean,
right.
that was something that I dove into when I was 6. I'm like all the mythology. Reading this book, I definitely see what he's saying. Because it came out in I think it was 1949.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
There is a lot of Freud, which was popular at the time in it,
And Jung.
and Jung. I can get down with some Jung. Freud's a little.
It's a little wacky.
Yeah,
just be
and
sure.
he does talk about a lot of that stuff within the book, and that portion of the book was really to me like, can we get past this?
Move on.
You know what I mean?
Moving
Like,
on
I
to
don't need to
something
know
substantial.
about their Oedipus complex. and all that.
how
That's-
that kind of psychologically puts them on the path. Yeah.
And the problem is that that's not necessarily true. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Of every story.
Yeah.
And you can apply anyone's theories of psychology to anything and make it fit in your mind.
Oh,
anything
100%.
ex post facto.
exactly.
Anything.
Exactly.
I mean, you
Yeah.
can make anything fit the evidence the way you want to present it. Look at politics today.
Absolutely.
So Jung, Freud, whoever, mythology, modern whatevers, it makes sense because it's a common storyline. Anybody wants to see somebody succeed.
Absolutely.
So watch them break down, build up, break down, rebuild up, succeed as a general idea.
Mm-hmm.
But between the cosmological, the sociological, you have a group of people, the psychological, what trials and tributations they have in their brain they have to go through to overcome the emotional. It's spiritual. Do I have an awakening of some sort from the cosmos? The magic sword, the ring. You know, when they talk about the
100%.
Hobbit.
Yeah. Lord of the
You
Rings.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking King Arthur as soon as you said the magic sword.
Okay.
Arthurian legend.
Yeah.
So it's
and that's
all
exactly,
there.
Yeah.
Again, he had to get that, that supernatural help,
Had Merlin,
He had to
yeah.
get that, and he had to get that.
Hogwarts. I mean, look at all the Harry Potter movies.
The Harry Potter movies are seeped in this. I mean, it's, it's
drip
almost
it.
a formula.
They drip
formula,
it.
Yeah,
From being a
exactly.
small child and growing up, Harry Potter with the scar on his forehead, and as you develop the character across several movies, it's cookie cutter almost.
And this is every RPG video game you've ever played in your life.
Yeah. 100%.
100% is
Always.
this way.
Yeah.
100%.
Always.
And RPG specifically.
Yeah.
Some action games would be that way as well.
Yeah.
Platformers.
You have pieces of the descent up. Not descent, but the climb up.
You start as nothing, you build
ascent.
up,
Yeah, ascent.
and you build up to a certain level, and then something smacks you down, takes you sideways. Oh, that was way more powerful than what I thought. Now I
wait a
got to
minute, I
build
gotta
up
learn.
to this and
Yeah.
learn that, and then I get the special sword, and
Legend of Zelda.
exactly,
Right there.
100%, 100%.
Legend of Zelda is still one of the most popular
Super
games.
Mario Brothers.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Honestly,
No, it's
All the-
everything that's super popular that has stayed in our lexicon since forever is always going to have the hero's journey in it. I mean, he's a fucking plumber from New York that gets sucked down a drain pipe.
another world.
Yeah, to another world, and he's got to save a princess, but yet he needs all these tools to get there, a raccoony suit
And
and,
he has
shit.
to overcome these Koopas.
Yeah.
Army of Darkness.
Yeah, Army of Darkness.
Perfect
100%.
example.
Perfect example.
Well, think about you start with think about Ash's journey at the beginning of that movie, and not just Army of Darkness, but you start at Evil Dead, right? Mm-hmm. He goes out there, but he goes through 2 fucking giant trials at that point, and still doesn't learn shit. And that's what's great about that movie.
It's amazing because the first movie and the second movie are the same movie.
Same movie. Yeah, one's just like the next day.
One of them's just like with a
Leftovers
budget.
that are rehashed.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the first part of it, I mean, it's the continuation. Then he falls into
I'm
the
going to need
puddle.
new girls.
Yeah. And then people show up and he's fucked up. But what's great that Sam Raimi did to that whole mythos, the monomyth there, is he made it to where the person did not learn shit.
Exactly.
He didn't learn a fucking thing.
Well,
And you know what the
Raimi-
good thing is about that? More movies.
That's right.
You
Well,
can
and
continue
Raimi's,
the mythos.
Raimi's a king of it. He did the Hercules and the Xena movies, which
Yeah.
or shows, which were very similar in that formula.
Briscoe County Jr.
There you go.
No, but like Ash he is a badass character that has overcome everything. People one of his own clones jumping down his throat, and becoming himself. So he destroys that. But yet he still does not learn the right words to send him back to his right time. So how much is he fucked up? And then when he gets back, he's still
A similar character to that in my mind's Jack Burton
yes.
from Big
Didn't
Trouble
learn
in Little
shit.
China.
Okay.
He has to go through all those trials. They take the magic juice, then they can fight, and he actually uses the blade for the first time in like a real way.
And he only defeats one dude.
But it's the main dude.
It's the main guy. So, but yet Wang's going through his own thing, and Wang is the hero.
It's a very, exactly. We've talked about this in the past. That he's the actual hero.
Yeah.
But you're right. Burton goes on his own journey, right? And then he comes out of it and he's still, Jack Burton to some degree.
Because that leads me on a weird tangent of like almost John Carpenter's movies with Kurt Russell, because he really does learn a lot in those, but he's still the character that, I don't know, grows, but yet it's still the same. He might learn from escaping from New York, and he might learn from escaping from LA, but he's still like, I'm going to go my own fucking way. Yeah. So is he really a hero at that point?
I don't think so. Badass. He's just a badass that's out for himself.
Yes.
I don't think Pliskin.
Yes.
He's a Ronin.
Yeah, just like the...
Tying it back to Kurosawa.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't feel like Pliskin's a super honorable guy.
No.
The only movie I can think of that Carpenter did, I don't think that there was a lot of character growth specifically for MacReady. Not in the same way.
Oh.
There was still. I mean, you can still tie it in there. You can make it fit, but it's not the same.
But it started as an ensemble of people trying to defeat the evil.
Right.
But at the same time, it ended in a very kind of like, I don't know what's next, Right. There was no ending to it, really. I mean,
because it was different than the book.
Correct.
When MacReady was actually the thing.
Uh-oh. Yeah, see? So...
Spoiler.
Spoiler.
So it does kind of...
Thanks a lot.
Certain
Were you
people...
reading it?
Not now. I don't have to. You just go ahead and told me everything.
You're welcome.
He was a thing
in
the ice. But there's just so many different ways that people interpret it. But at the same time, there's a lot of ways that people they take it and make it subversive, maybe, and a little bit different.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think they all throw their own special sauce on it. But it's like anybody. Like if you and I have the same steak, and I cook it my way and you cook it your way, it's going to be different. It's still going to be a steak, and we're still going to be going through the same process of cooking it. It's just me adding in my different ingredients. Right.
Well,
I don't know if that's a good analogy. Now I'm fucking hungry.
That's a decent analogy. And yes, I'll have a ribeye.
Yes.
Okay.
No, I mean, even like if you think of MacReady and stuff like that, I mean, it does follow a different kind of narrative with the blueprint, but yet it's created something different with the hero's journey on that part of it.
Absolutely. Well, and
it's not really a hero's journey at that point. It's just kind of like, here you go.
Well, you got to deal with this stuff. Yeah. This is who you are.
No, this is who you are now.
But I would think, like, even so, movies where I don't consider people like action or a hero movie, like Good Will Hunting. Same thing. Same exact.
Right.
He broke down, couldn't be around people. The girl, that was the big crux. He had the special supernatural help of Robin Williams,
right?
Which I think is honestly, that would be an awesome supernatural thing to have happen in my life. Is just Robin Williams talking to me every day. Cool with that, and so that he could succeed and make his own choice, basically at the end of that movie. You know what I mean?
Most great movies have the same blueprint and the same line that they all travel, and you can pigeonhole this into everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you can just say, oh, yeah, they got it from this. Now, if you think about Ben Affleck eating Cheetos on the couch and Matt Damon writing the screenplay and shit, you know what I mean? And they're all just chilling, and he's like, have you read that book, A Hero's Journey?
Well, that screenplay was way different, right?
Yeah.
It was a spy film.
Yeah, see?
It was basically took off from the point where I think that he started working for like the CIA or the NSA, and that's where that movie took for. It was supposed to be like that, and I think they took it to Rob Reiner, and he's like, "No, this is shit."
Yeah,
this
part's good.
Yeah, exactly. So then
develop
they built out
this.
Of that, So probably not a bad person to talk to when you're wanting to make a movie.
Fucking Rob Reiner, come on,
made a few movies.
Yeah. What about Princess Bride?
Yeah. There you go.
Princess Bride was another hero type of a movie, but in a different light. And
yeah,
the hero.
I think really a lot of those characters went through a hero's journey of their own. You know, you think of course, Leslie. You know, even Buttercup in her own thing. She went through her own trials and overcame. Iago Montoya.
Yeah,
killed his father, prepared to die.
He had the sword.
I would say the only one that didn't go through like that sort of a journey was maybe Andre the Giant's character. You know,
he was the glue that tied everything together.
Absolutely. He was the heart.
You know?
Almost,
yeah, he was the heart of the story. So kind of putting it into an old school kind of a tale really works. You know.
Well, and like if we want to go that route, Labyrinth. The Never-Ending Story.
Yeah.
Any of those, The Last Unicorn. Hey, don't fuck around with The Last Unicorn. It's a badass movie.
What is it? Flicka?
I don't know about that.
Free Willy?
Black Stallion. She's in the special Adam and Eve section of that. No, never mind.
Yeah.
Different story.
I like
That's
horses.
not the same.
maybe
that trial real well.
maybe pornographic movies don't follow the same.
I
trend.
disagree. I feel like there's probably a good portion of them that do.
Well,
You've got the character, he's all hot and heavy, or she's all hot and heavy, but there's no one there.
Yeah.
That's the trial.
yeah, until the pizza gets delivered.
And then the supernatural thing
Yeah.
is the pizza gets delivered.
Hey, did you order extra sausage? No, I didn't. Thank you for asking.
I don't have any money. How could I repay you for this pizza?
The trial and tribulation.
Maybe we can work something out.
You do that very well, by the way.
I know. No,
You really do.
I'm a good 70s beatboxer.
70s beatboxer.
And you've got the mustache for it, too.
I know, right? I'm trying to grow it out. That's my birthright.
Secretly at night, when he goes to bed, he's just doing the Sanford and Son song.
This is a big one. Wheezy.
Coming for you, Elizabeth.
Coming for you, Elizabeth. This is a big one.
Lamont, you big dummy.
You big dummy.
I think we digressed a little off.
Yes. No, I'm trying to think of some horror movies that are kind of in that same vein.
I'm sorry, some more
Dracula.
Horror movies.
horror movies?
Yeah.
Oh, there's plenty.
Just Dracula.
Dracula's there. Frankenstein's there.
The Wolfman.
The Wolfman.
The classics.
The classic. Yeah.
I would say even beyond that, like your Nightmare on Elm Street.
That is.
Absolutely, you did.
Halloween.
in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, every girl that survived in those movies, because it's always a girl that survives in
Same
those
way with
movies
Friday
at
the
the end.
13th.
Absolutely. But they go through that trial and that tribulation. Something happens generally. They get some insider information or, something that they can use against the...
But what's Jason's? He's going through his own little deal, too.
No, just in your mind, Brock. Just in your mind.
What's the one horror movie? Final
Destination?
Destination.
12?
14, 12,
74.
7, hike. Doesn't matter.
Omaha.
Okay.
Red 42!
Same thing, though, but, what's the goal? Stay alive.
Right.
But do they make it? No, not
Yeah.
usually. Until one of the final ones where the one where the airplane was about to take off, they get taken off the airplane. Remember that?
Yeah, that was the first one, I
That was the
think.
very first one, right?
Yeah.
But in one of the final ones,
But then wasn't the last scene of her getting hit by a bus or something?
no.
Or was that later?
The last one, the very last one I remember was where the kid tried to do something, found out he screwed up, and then he gets hit with the landing gear of the plane that gets destroyed and ties the whole thing
Yes.
together.
Nice.
But the same thing, a journey.
Right.
Although it's a journey to death.
But
It's still
they're
a
trying
journey.
to overcome, so they're not really heroes. They're just fodder.
Well, they're fallen heroes.
What about
that's
Donnie
fair.
Darko?
Okay.
Donnie Darko.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Sort of, yeah.
He goes through a journey on that part of it, and
Well,
then he
definitely
sacrifices
goes through-
himself
Yeah.
for the greater good of everybody
And he
else.
destroys Patrick Swayze along the way.
Yes, he does. Fuck. Patrick Swayze was a fucking piece of shit in that movie.
God, he's so gross in that movie. I love that movie, but he is very disturbing in that film.
He's pretty gross. He's
He
the
did
worst
his job
player.
then.
Yes,
oh,
he did.
He did a
He
wonderful
did
job.
his
Absolutely. I would say he did that job better than he did in Roadhouse.
Blasphemy.
No, Sam Elliott was the glue that held that movie together.
Yeah, he was. His mustache was.
That's right.
He's like, hey, kid. Goddamn bum knees. Terry Funk was the clue. God bless Terry Funk.
Funky glue.
Bless Terry Funk. No, I looking at the comic books and everything, that I really like it, that the movies that we really like truly fall in love with do have that archetype and the monomyth for it, but it makes the most sense to see somebody. It's the dramatic rise and the fall and, the resolution. Just everything that you would write in a regular story, but you're putting the building blocks of the story plus the hero's journey into it, and you got a fucking hit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just definitely it.
Well, I think that, I dabble in writing. And I think that I noticed those patterns before I ever knew there was a book that said, hey, this is a pattern.
Yep.
It just made sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, no, there's got to be more here. It can't just be this. There's got to be
there's got to be
overcoming
reason.
something,
Yeah.
whatever. So, like, I think it's almost just a universal truth. This guy put it down on paper.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Codified it.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a codification, but like you're saying, the blueprint.
Yep.
And how we've done it, how we do it, and if you'll pardon the expression, same shit, same bucket, different paint job.
Yeah.
Whether you're doing horror, drama, mythology,
Comedy.
romance, comedy,
Well, I was getting ready to
comic
say.
book, whatever.
Almost every rom-com follows the same exact thing.
Yeah.
There's some sort of, they're separated or they're not, they can't be together, or whatever it might be. Usually the dude, has to go through some bullshit to find out that he was really in love with this girl, or she has to do that, whatever.
And they're walking away and they're like, bing, light above the head.
And then they overcome that, and then now they're together. And usually it's because there's some like Miss Cleo style friend, or you know what I mean. So
Ghost.
You still have, whichever.
Ghost is good,
But
but Starship Trooper.
Yeah, and you know what a horrible fucking movie that is.
But people love it. It's almost
Love
cult-like.
it because there's
It's a
so
cult
many different
film
heroes.
for sure. And I would say not only that, but I think that's also the way it's delivered.
Yes.
They did a good job of that, and I'm not a big Starship Troopers guy. I saw the original one in the theater. I didn't see it. I think they made a second one. I didn't watch that.
Never watched it. Never watched the third one. Never watched the
I
fourth
didn't
one.
know there were that many.
There's a lot.
I watched the original one. It was good. Not good enough that I was like, man, this is a stalwart in my collection.
Dude, I've seen that movie like fucking a lot.
But it's because, like you said, there's multiple heroes having multiple stories, and then it's the delivery of how they do that with almost like the played in camp.
yeah.
You know what I
and
mean?
you fucking hate Denise Richards by the end of it.
Right.
She's
As
a
does
fucking
Charlie Sheen.
Goddamn. She's such a bitch in that movie. She's
Wasn't
like,
that
I'm going to
her?
break up with you, Johnny. And then, they're like, oh, we're together. We're friends.
Wasn't she married to Charlie Sheen?
Yeah, I think so for a
okay,
little
I thought
while.
so,
Yeah. Didn't they have like a kid or
Some
two?
Tiger
or
Blood,
something?
maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Good Lord.
But there's a shit, man. I was thinking about Tremors just now. I don't know why. But Tremors, you have the
Absolutely.
supernatural thing. You got the two heroes that are looking for something different. They actually become heroes, Fred Ward and fucking Kevin Bacon. And even Kevin Bacon was like, he literally didn't want to do the movie.
Right.
Because he was like, I'm making a movie about fucking worms.
Don't
tell 'em
worse.
about
He could have
Dune.
made Squirm.
Oh, god damn. Or Eight-Legged Freaks. But no, Tremors is a fucking classic movie.
Absolutely. Sure.
That movie by itself, if they would have left Tremors alone, no doubt about it. But now they got Tremors 6. And
Yeah,
shit.
again, so I don't see anything past the second one generally.
Most of the time, yeah.
Yeah, unless it's something that's just out of this world.
From Dusk Till Dawn 2, never watched
I've
it.
never
Dawn?
watched any of those. I
From
watched
Dusk
the
Till
first
Dawn
one.
was really
The first
good.
one was very good.
Think about True Romance. So again, thinking about Tarantino. Tarantino wrote True Romance, right?
Oh, and dude, that's such a play off so many of the martial arts films that he
Yeah.
was influenced by, which are of course influenced by the monomyth.
Yep.
But
So you
you're
still,
absolutely
yeah,
right.
and you have that hero's journey of him being the comic book guy, meeting the hooker, but she's like, that was my first one, and I don't want to be a hooker. And he's like, let's go crazy, I mean, and they fucking go out and kill people.
They
and-
overcome Gary Oldman.
Yeah, he's there's big ass titty on the screen over there. You ain't even looked up. You clocking me, motherfucker. That's like one of his best parts.
Who, Gary Oldman?
Yeah, Drexel.
I would say that and Leon the Professional.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is a fucking awesome movie too, because that one, same kind of deal.
But whose hero's journey is it? It's Natalie Portman's.
She doesn't really, yeah.
It's Natalie Portman.
Yeah. And even Leon's too, because he does sacrifice himself at the end for the greater good of her.
But I would say that he's almost the supernatural force.
Yes, he is, because he teaches her and saves her. He becomes something
And
different.
she teaches him too,
Yeah.
differently.
Yeah.
You know, so he does have his own journey and comes
Yeah.
to a different mindset by the time he does sacrifice
And
himself.
fucking Gary Oldman is sadistic in that
Yeah,
fucking
he
movie,
is.
just like he is in the Fifth Element.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I love
yes.
the Fifth Element. So that's another great one that fits right into this, of course.
So does Die Hard, and Die Hard is probably the ultimate '80s action movie. It's got to be.
I'd say that's right, yeah.
I don't.
It's a Christmas movie.
It's
It is
the,
a Christmas
well,
movie.
yeah, it's the ultimate Christmas movie. There's so many good things about it. He's got to overcome all of these obstacles. But what is his supernatural thing in that one? It's just that he's able to walk around barefoot.
No, I think that it's love by the end of it.
Okay,
Love
okay.
conquers all.
Because he
Yeah.
was estranged from his wife, and at the end of it, they're not.
And in the second one, same thing.
Yep.
And in the third one, that was fucking
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
I
That's
like
the one
the
with
third
Samuel L.
one.
Jackson,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I love the third one. The fourth one, not so.
I didn't watch that
much.
movie.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Kevin
That's the one with
Smith's
his
in it.
son, right?
No, that's the fifth one.
I didn't know.
Yeah, Live
the
Free.
fuck outta here with that.
Yeah, Live Free or Die Hard is number 4, and that's with Timothy Olyphant. And they do he does like a takeover of the computer system with Justin Long in it.
Oh, okay.
It's got some good parts in
Maybe
it.
I have seen that one. Maybe I've seen part of it. I don't know. I didn't watch the newest one.
Yeah,
with
the
his
one where he
son.
goes to Russia, which was
So Jean-Claude Van Damme, Die Hard on Ice.
yes. Oh yeah, that was a big one. Die Hard on Ice.
Or Sudden Impact, as some people call
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But all of those movies, too, like any of those style movies, like I would say Universal Soldier, Time Cop, any of those kind of Jean-Claude Van Damme, even Bloodsport, Kickboxer especially.
Yeah.
Because he loses his brother. He trains with the master guy
Yeah.
and then takes down this guy that can break concrete pillars with his knees. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then Steven Seagal has only got a couple of movies that fit into that shit because he's a complete asshole and he doesn't want to share it with anybody else. You know what I mean? Like
Steven
Hard to
Seagal's
Kill.
such a douche.
Now think about Hard to Kill, right? Hard to
Yeah.
Kill was the one where they shoot him. They shoot the Nino dude. His name's Nino,
Right,
right?
right.
Shoot him in the head, then he wakes up from a coma, and Kelly LeBrock's there. It's
And
like,
he's got to save his
wife.
wife.
So, no, because his wife
Maybe
is
that's
dead.
above the law.
His wife and kid. No.
Maybe that was another 3-word movie that he was in.
No, Above the Law is whenever he
On
was
Deadly Ground, Above the Law, Hard to Kill,
Under
Marked for Death.
Under Siege.
Well, I mean, you got 3 syllables there. You're
Well,
close.
Under Siege was his best one.
That was his most profitable
yeah,
one, for sure.
completely 100%. Like
I actually liked Marked for Death better. That
Yeah.
was probably my favorite one with the 2 Jamaican twins.
yeah.
That was probably my favorite.
Keith
You
David
just
was
like
in that one?
Jamaican culture and food.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. You're correct.
Jerk chicken, jerk pork.
Jerk marijuana.
I like all those jerks.
No, that one's a really good one. I think Alfred Justice is like my favorite one out of all of his.
Okay.
Just because he's that New
Half
York
Past Dead.
And the reason why I like that one the most is because William Forsythe is in it, and he's a
Okay.
fucking wicked dude, man.
Okay.
The bad guy.
Yeah, yeah.
The one that's going around killing everybody. William Forsythe's pretty fucking awesome.
I like the movie that he did with DMX, where DMX did the "Ain't No Sunshine" song,
No.
the Bill Withers song that
Yeah.
he remade.
Ain't no sunshine.
Ain't no sunshine where you go. Okay, anyway.
Yeah.
He changes the words anyways. It's all about killing people. But the reason I like that is because Steven Seagal is well older and overweight and does a flip off a wall. And I'm like, that is the worst flip ever.
It's pretty awesome.
Pretty awesome. You can awesomely tell that it's suspended on wires.
Or somebody way more fit than him is wearing a fat suit.
Yeah, maybe.
Steven Seagal's own hero's journey has led him into the toilet.
His hero's journey. Here's the problem, and I'm going to get into this for a minute because you know my thoughts on this. His hero's journey was bullshit. That's the problem.
Yes.
It's all steeped in bullshit.
All the shit that
Every
he's gone
story
through.
he told is all bullshit. It's somebody else's story from here or there. There's been people that's called him out on it. No, I
He's
did that.
told-
I was a Navy SEAL. You weren't.
Yeah, he's told
You
other
know?
people's stories to them.
Yeah,
and they're like,
yeah.
wait a minute, that's my story, dude.
Like, I went to Japan and became a black belt. No, that's not how that worked. That's not how that worked at all, you lying sack of shit. Fuck that guy.
Don't hold back. Tell us how you really feel.
He's just a terrible human
yeah,
being.
he is
dude.
a horrible,
And he's
horrible
like
person.
a fucking weirdo as far as girls and women are involved.
Yeah,
He's just a fucking weird cat.
Piece of shit.
Yeah.
Piece of shit. Now, Van Damme, on the other hand, always, and if you look at his fight record, he always came back from behind in points to like win at the last second. Like he'd be like, oh,
that was
with
the
his hands
hero's
up.
journey.
It was fucking for real. He only had like 19 professional fights, and don't quote
I would
me on
say
that.
even Dolph Lundgren. He was a kickboxing champion. Obviously, he's got multiple PhDs, I believe.
Yeah.
Chemistry and
Like astrophysics or
Yeah,
some shit
something.
like that. Yeah.
But he had his own journey, and you could tie that into a lot of people's real lives because most of us, if we think about it, canonize your life for a moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Put it in a capsule. You can find those spots. Now, life's a long journey,
Yes.
so it's not just a story, but you'll have several of these archetypical storylines within your own life.
Yep.
Period.
100%.
Yeah.
And so
it could be
that's-
something as small as I got bullied in school
That's why it's
and
relatable.
I overcame that, and here's how I did it,
when you
I had that one teacher that really believed in me, so suddenly I started, doing this, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, you always put yourself in that situation.
Absolutely.
And that's again
That's why
where
everybody wanted to be Luke Skywalker. I still wanted to be Han Solo. Fuck off.
I think Han Solo would have been cooler just because he like hung out in a bar and shit all the time, and he had a big walking carpet with him.
Well, I think my favorite thing about it is that he just didn't whine as much.
Yeah.
Yeah, Luke was a little whiny, even towards
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say up until
Towards the
Return. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm more of a Lone Star guy myself. Like I'm totally with Lone Star because he's cool and he has Barf with him.
Totally with the Ice Pirates.
Yeah, that's another fucking movie too.
Yeah, that's gonna
It's
be
a weird.
That's
movie.
gonna be put on the list behind you before we
Yes,
leave
it
here
is.
today.
Yes, it is. I watched it not too long ago. It was fucking great.
Space herpes.
Space herpes. Ah! Fucking movie. Damn.
That movie's so good. So bad it's good.
It's you see all this stuff in the movies, and you see the hypothesis of where these characters figure out they're like, the piece fucking fit. And most people are like, I see.
While we're talking about this, I've been trying to think of movies that don't fit that.
There's not a lot, man, and I know that we're trying to think of it,
Right.
and it's not going to be right there.
Do you want to go back to silent movies then? Like maybe, and this is one of your favorite movies you told me a long time ago. The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, 1919, 1920.
Right?
Take that and fit it into the mythos, the monomythos.
It's been so long since I've seen it, and I've
Okay,
only seen
fair
it
enough.
twice.
Fair enough.
So you put it into perspective for me. You've seen it, haven't you?
A long.
See?
I think it was around 1922 when Nosferatu was coming out.
Yeah. Well, yeah. See, yeah. I mean, those movies like that. I mean, they don't go into the right narrative, and they're abstract in their way that they put them out there. So you have this abstract feeling throughout the whole entire journey of this particular movie. So it's one of those movies that's kind of more brushed aside, and it's like, oh, this is a great art house movie. But then also, I mean, you could almost apply the hero's journey to art too. And really, in a way, like I was watching a whole documentary about Andy Warhol and the things that he had to overcome before he even became Andy Warhol. He was Andrew Warhola, and they misspelled his name, and that was pretty much like kind of like
Worked out
a
pretty
key.
well for him.
The key that kind of turned him, and he was
Brandy.
like, fuck that shit. You know what I mean? And there's just all kinds of shit like that with everybody.
I think of all the biopics. I always say biopic, and I get a little pushback. That sounds dumb.
It's a biopic.
But at any rate, everyone you've ever watched, I don't care who it's about, goes through that hero's journey. Mm-hmm. I don't care if it's about somebody that's terrible. They go through their own journey to get there. And from their point of view, maybe it's not as terrible as it's perceived.
Right.
But everyone, I like the one that came to mind right away was the dragon about Bruce Lee.
Oh,
He gets his back broke.
Yep.
Has to overcome that, creates Jeet Kune Do, becomes better because of it. Mm-hmm. And then, you know what I mean? So same deal, right?
That should almost really this whole hero's journey is everybody's life.
It is. That's
why it's so relatable and so popular.
Yeah.
And it's what everybody wants when they're a kid. That's all you wanted when you were a kid.
Right.
Was to like somebody to tell you, hey, you're a Jedi.
Yeah, you're good.
Or
at
you're whatever it might be, whatever you're into. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all you waited for was that moment that deviated from the rest of your life to take you on that hero's journey. You were looking for that. At least I was as a child, for sure.
Everybody is.
100%.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I think we all take places, and you can look back at a lot of points in your life that if you would have went one way, things might have been different, or you might have ended up in the same spot. Hindsight's 20/20, always.
Oh, of course.
But at the same time, everybody, I don't know, fantasize, not necessarily fantasize. It's kind of, you put that myth on, what if I would have done this?
Right.
You know, what if I would have done that? Where would I be at that point? But everybody is where they need to be at all times. I really think that there's some people that get dealt a weird hand, but
sure.
I think in the grand scheme of things, is everything being connected and everybody is connected in some certain way or another, we are all exactly where we need to be.
Well,
always.
and I think that if you're not, don't get me wrong, I don't think everybody reaches their full potential. I don't think that at all.
No.
I think a lot of people go to the grave that, you know, and it says, hey, we should have given more of my stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To the world. I think a lot of people go that route. But every story, and again, whether we're conjecturing on how it would change your life if you made this choice, that choice, I tried to stop doing that a long time ago because you'll fucking go wacky.
Right.
But because, you know, you made this other decision, maybe it did make something harder, but because you went through that hardship, you came out a stronger person.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. You know, and I look at things nowadays too, just whenever you get older, you see things way differently, and that's just a fact. I mean, you have that life experience behind everything, you know?
Sure.
Growth.
And once you learn from your mistakes and you grow, and then you become, like I said, you become what you want to become, and depending on the effort that you put into it. Now, I think a lot of people, like you said, don't live up to that expectation of themselves.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't even say the expectation, but at least the potential.
The potential, yeah, and
it's easy to get away from that. Like especially if you have a kid young, or you have maybe a parent that you have to take care of when you're young, or whatever. There's a lot of hardships out there in the world.
Yeah,
I'm not taking that away from anybody, but those things tend to put you in a situation where you can't explore those other options that perhaps that's where your potential lied.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Perfect sense.
Yeah, you might go down that other path and it's harder, but by the time you get done with it, you look back and you're like, oh yeah, that was totally worth it.
Yeah, there's a lot of times, like, you know, talking about like where, well, if I definitely could have been a richer person had I made this decision or this decision, but I would not have had personal growth like I have now.
Yeah.
Going through the things I went through to get to where I'm at today.
Yeah. There's a couple of decisions in my life that I wish I would have done differently, of course, and everybody has those.
Sure.
But it's not a regret thing.
Right.
It's more of a, if I made that, I know it would have been this way, just because somewhat, you just don't.
Playing in the multiverse of madness.
Correct.
So you go mad in the world of madness.
But then you live. Like I heard this saying that said, you would die for your kids, or you would die for your family, or you would die for somebody, right? But would you live for them?
Right.
That's just as hard, if not harder.
Yeah. And that's and that was a comedian, Jeff Garland, and I was like, holy shit, that's nice. Yeah. But that's the thing. We all live our lives, and we want to, nowadays, having the silver screen to emulate your hopes and your fears, and your journey too makes you a part of that, and you feel more of it when it's there.
I would say that that's been around forever. Books, you know, I mean, obviously whatever the medium of the time was.
And we are living through we're still in the golden age of cinema.
Oh yeah.
I think, you know, and if
Some
cinema
degree,
in the next 100 years keeps going, because right now, I mean, when was the first film made? In 18 something?
Sure, late 1800s. I'm sure.
So you think about that, we're already eclipsing the fucking 100-year mark of a lot of really big cinema moments, which is kind of crazy. And I was watching 1917 last night, right? And I was thinking about how in 1967, that was 50 years.
Yep.
After World War I. So think about those people that were going through World War I in the 60s, seeing the way that the world was. They had their own hero's journey, and they had their own life, and they already had kids and grandkids and everybody like that. And then the 60s coming along, and that whole baby boomer generation, they're just like, what the fuck's going on? You know, but 50 years at that point. So now we think where we're at right now from Vietnam. We're pretty much almost 50 years from Vietnam, and that's
Correct.
fucking amazing. You know, that's crazy. When we grew up, I mean, I know we were closer to the 60s, you know, when we were born, and I don't remember whenever you were born, but I'm not going to say
A long time ago.
But at that same time, I mean, we were so close to that world and that world of change that America's hero's journey has kind of gone fucking off the rails.
Well, to speak
Way
to,
off the way
to
it
speak
rails.
to that point, like in the late 70s, early 80s, how many movies were about Vietnam?
Right.
Because you had those people come back, they processed all the things that happened, just like you do with anything. That's like if somebody came out with a pandemic movie next year.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to see it.
No.
5 years from now,
Maybe.
let's talk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because now you've had time to process and how that affected people after the fact.
Yeah.
You know, things
Or
like that.
like a 9/11 movie or something
Exactly,
like that.
exactly.
You know, because I mean, those started coming out 5-6 years after the fact, and they were still just not where they need to be.
I didn't watch any of those.
No, I only watched the Nicolas Cage one.
No Rain Over Me.
No, that one was actually pretty decent too.
Wasn't that Cage?
No, that was
Cheadle, right? No.
Don Cheadle and Adam
Sandler,
Sandler.
yeah.
And his wife and kid. Yeah, went through something. But that even reminds me of fucking The Fisher King, right?
Oh, yeah.
You got two characters in that movie that were going through the hero's journey. And one off the rails and the other one, you know, off the rails too, just in a different way. And you have that joining of forces.
Different rails.
Yeah, and then the supernatural
Narrow
force
gauge and normal gauge.
Yeah. But I like it, just within life and within everything, you see those twists and turns, and you go through it, and then that's why some people's, you know, life stories are pretty interesting to read, because everybody's life story is interesting.
Well, yeah,
you really got to say that.
And I think that, you know, we take a lot of this from, like we were talking about, older mythology. Obviously, you know, there's a lot of supernatural in that, but even like the Bible, David's journey, you know, had to overcome Goliath. Job, absolutely, Daniel in the lion's den, all those things. Those are grandirized stories, you know, whether they're to be taken literal or not, doesn't matter. I'm not going to get into that, you know, what people religiously believe, but it would be it's the same. It's again, the same thing across the board.
Yeah. It's a template.
Yeah.
And the template has gone on from everything, and depends on where you kind of put it.
It's a template for life as a journey period. So therefore, when you do apply the hero side of it, you know what I mean, to make a story that's a little more bold, I guess, than most normal lives that happen. Amplified, sure. Those are the ones that stand out to us. Those are the ones that get put down in, you know, these ancient texts from, you know, like we said, Babylon on up. So.
Yeah. Everybody's got to go on their own hero's journey every day through life. Not
That's
every
just trying
single
to
day.
go to work. I don't know what you're talking
but
about.
yeah, every person's life is you have the trials and tribulations that make you who you are the final minute before you die.
Yep.
You know, and is it worth it to go to that final minute? Yeah, it is. Every single day it is.
The man who killed Hitler and then Bigfoot.
Yeah, right. Right. I mean, there's just so many different, I don't know. I think that it is, again, it's a template for life, and it is something that if you can learn from too at the same time, nobody ever has the answers, and that's not the answer at all. But learning from it makes you pay attention more to what's important in your life.
Well, and we
that's
teach
what
ourselves
these people do.
in parables, right?
Mm-hmm.
No matter what that is, you know.
Yeah.
What, next Star Wars.
Yeah,
How
yeah,
many
exactly.
parables were in Star Wars?
Come on.
You know?
I mean, George Lucas totally everything in those movies.
Didn't they have a traveling museum exhibit where basically it was about Star Wars and religion, and like its mirror to certain religions? I believe that happened, and maybe like 5-10 years ago that it was traveling around museums.
Like a traveling roadshow?
Yeah.
Okay, I think so.
Like
maybe.
a traveling exhibit, you know?
Yeah,
how
right.
Like the mummy travels around, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I could totally, yeah. I could see there's just so many different things in all these movies, and Star Wars is one of the most prolific of all of these movies to really kind of grace the screens for us. But then they get shit on when you have episode 1 through 3.
Well, and I think
But
the
at the
reason
same
why
time-
is because you think of all the generations that were affected by Star Wars. You had the first 3 movies, right? That was what, 77
77
to
77 to
83.
83, yeah.
And then you had the first 3 movies,
99 through 2005, right?
right? And then with the newer movies, the last 3, obviously, you know, just finishing up in 2018, 19.
Yeah, 19.
19.
So it's
19,
2015 through
So
then?
you see what I'm saying? So it's always brought back in. It's more. It's not the same story.
No.
That's what they're doing right. They're not telling you the same story. They're telling you more of the story.
Yeah, they're
Right?
giving you more
They're
of
cap
it.
ending, you know, book ending a story. And obviously that they're going to go different directions now, but I guarantee
Yeah.
that every story, I don't know if you guys watched The Mandalorian at
Yeah.
all.
fucking
Oh,
amazing.
yeah.
I fucking love that show. That is totally the hero's journey.
But
Every episode is the same
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
And, well, yeah, and
I mean,
think
the
that-
same template.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100% the same template. But you even notice we've talked about this in the past. That was Seven Samurai.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
whole episode.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so again, I mean,
They're
they're just going
picking
to
things, yeah.
continue to tell that same tale and all through all those mythos, and all they're doing is creating a more large mythos after hacking off all the bullshit that they didn't want to consider canon.
Right,
You
right.
know, so they can
Even-
control it. But I would say the
yeah.
MCU movies are the same way. I would say any of those, that Girl is on Fire movie.
Gorillas in the Mist?
That's the one. The
Carrie?
Hummingbird movie, the
Oh, the Mocking
Mockingjay, or
Oh, my God.
what are those
yes.
movies?
The Hunger Games.
Hunger Games.
So like the Hunger Games, and all those movies that came out right there with the Divergent.
Well, all the
those girl
teen
movies,
paranormal romance movies.
Well, again,
yeah.
as we've talked about in the past, that's the biggest demographic of readers, and all those movies were made off of books.
Yep.
So, of course, the main character is going to be a female that's going to go through those, which is fine because
No,
it's about time they
100%,
did
yeah.
that. Every story from when I was a kid was a dude.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you
The
had
new-
Leia's story,
Yeah.
which was nice.
Well, the new Star Wars movies are completely Disney princess movies. They are. You
Well,
know,
every
Rey,
Disney princess movie follows the same guy.
Yeah,
the same
no,
hero's
Rey
journey.
is a Disney princess. She is now.
Sure. I mean, you could say the same thing about Luke Skywalker. He's also a Disney princess.
No, he's not.
yeah,
he's
yeah,
not.
he is.
He's not.
Absolutely, he is.
No,
It's the
no,
same
no.
story.
No. Oh, well, it's the same story, but she being the female character for it, they've fit that into it. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing at all.
Okay.
I'm just saying they're using the female aspect like all of the Disney movies.
I would say that Luke Skywalker whined more than Rey did.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, she didn't. She just fucking ate her
She's
little
a
fucking
badass,
pop-up
right?
bread
Yeah,
and shit
absolutely.
like that.
She's
you
like,
know?
let's do this.
Yeah. She's like,
But I
my
just
plan.
I think that you're right. But I
Yeah.
think that falls again back to the same and not to say that it's a trope, but the same template.
Yep.
You know, and that's every Disney movie you've ever seen, which most of those are taken off of old stories, old parables, old
Myth.
fables, old
Yep.
myths, right?
Pinocchio, yeah.
Exactly.
Any of the, I mean, Mickey Mouse, maybe not.
Even your Pixar movies, Toy Story.
Fucking Toy Story, man.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
All of every round of Toy Story, because there's Toy Story 4 now.
I haven't watched that one yet.
It's not bad. It's not.
Is that the one with Keanu Reeves as a spork?
No, no, no. He's not a spork. He's the Evil Knievel toy.
Okay.
So he's like Evil Knievel on the motorcycle.
Okay.
And shit like
Okay.
that.
I thought he was a spork or something.
No. The spork was some dude from like Arrested Development.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was some dude from there.
Larry David?
No.
But now I wanted to watch it if it was Larry David.
No, that would have been awesome. No, there's just so many. Really cool ways that people put this into perspective for you with their own characters, and seeing like the MCU, there's another hero's journey that's gonna be going through on all this next phase and everything like that, phase 4 or whatnot.
I think you'll have a lot of them. You're gonna have because you're having an introduction of a lot more characters.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
But where is our big bad for the group? That's gonna be they have to do. The MCU movies have changed the landscape of the way you do movies.
Oh, agreed.
Really
Especially the connection portion of it.
100%.
Sure.
They destroyed everything that came before them and created this giant fucking 10, 15, 20 movie setup. You know
Over
what I mean?
A decade, yeah.
Yeah, and literally kind of blew the doors off of everything. So nothing now. The way I see it, like the Star Wars movies now, I'm like, great, yeah, another Star Wars movie, just because of the way that the MCU did it. So, what's coming up next?
I'm interested to see more movies like Rogue One.
Yes,
and I think we'll get some of those.
That was a good movie. It was different, but it lended toward supporting the main theme.
Absolutely.
How do I get here to start the journey?
Exactly.
Well, because we didn't know who the Bothan spies were,
Right.
And you heard about them, and then all of a sudden it was like, whoa, where's the Bothans in this movie?
Right.
Who is Bothan in this movie? I don't know. But, and then you had the potato-faced Princess Leia. She looked like a fucking potato in that movie. Looked bad. That was the worst CGI ever. And she even looked bad in the newest Star Wars, too.
Was it worse than Henry Cavill's mustache? I think not.
No. That one I can't really even tell because it's so fast. I need to watch it again just to see.
Just pause that one good time and you're going to be like, what the fuck is going on with that guy's face?
Like, yeah, like Cesar Romero.
It's not even that, dude. Cesar Romero, you could obviously tell the dude had a mustache and they just painted over it.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not.
They CGI'd over this, so this guy's face makes no sense when he's doing things. It's just confusing. You're like, why does his face look like that?
Wait, did I have a dad before or after I started this movie?
No. Oh, shit. The Crow, man.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking The Crow was pretty awesome in the way that he went through that
journey.
But
another comic book movie, that's or comic book story, however you want to put it. I mean, those are all fall in the same vein to me, Some of the ones that are a little different where I think are like The Watchmen.
Yep.
You know what I mean? There's some character growth, obviously, but it's not in the way of a hero. Like, there is no happy ending for sure.
Well, what about the Joker, the one that we just had before?
Sure.
No happy ending whatsoever, but you saw the growth and the progression.
And really, I guess for both those movies, that's perspective, right?
Correct.
Because maybe that is the hero's journey for Joker to become free.
The Joker, yeah.
Well,
and for the Watchmen, that was the journey they needed to take to bring all these countries together and not fight each other with nuclear war. You know what I mean? They did it. They accomplished that, whether it was by shitty means or not.
Maybe if you look at Alan Moore's work and you kind of put the hero's journey into there, he's kind of fucking it up. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah,
Which
I think
really cool.
even his Swamp Things were different. You know what I mean?
Swamp Things were different, but that character was more in line with this kind of stuff, or this kind of stuff. But at the same time,
I don't know that with Moore's run on it though.
It was so diverse and all over the place because within the first,
it became more of an elemental and more of a,
within the first 2 books of Alan Moore's run on Swamp Thing, he completely wiped out the whole mythos of what Swamp Thing was.
Absolutely.
And then started the hero's journey at that point. So Alec Holland had to know that he wasn't inside the fucking Swamp Thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was something different. Yeah. And that's kind of where he led. And then you have Abby Kane was a little bit different. There's so many different facets to that, but at the same time, fucking Swamp Thing could go through the universe,
right?
Which was weird, and end up on a different planet with different vegetation. So he was still part of the Green, but in a weird way. And
well, he really introduced the Green in the Parliament and all that, correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, just the Parliament of trees in the middle of the Amazon forest and weird shit. I mean, there's just so many different things. Alan Moore he was the guy that's creating the new myths. Yeah,
he's a sorcerer.
He's creating the new myths.
Alan Moore, I'm a sorcerer.
I mean, give Alan Moore a fucking pen and paper and
just don't give him any musical instruments, dude. I'm telling you, I gotta find that CD for you. You'll lose your mind. You're like, oh my God, what am I listening to? Why is this still happening? I'm Alan Moore. Anyways,
I'm a sorcerer. But I think this is just a really good subject because it's opened up more of just in my eyes how everything, the connective tissue in every narrative that we have whatsoever. Because I think comic books are the newest form of myth.
Absolutely, and it's almost like our own mythology at this point that there's so much in the zeitgeist. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and how we always talk shit about them redoing movies. Yeah. They're going to redo them, but we've been redoing everything in every medium.
Forever.
Yeah, so at the same time, yeah, it's shitty to see the same fucking Spider-Man movie over and over again. You know what I mean? Because we do. They always got to fucking show the backstory, and we don't need that anymore.
Well, I'll honestly say this. I think what propels a story, the hero's journey is going to be there. That's going to be the thing that makes it stick in everyone's mind, right?
Yes.
It's the detail. It's the connective tissue to other things. Those are the things that make a story great.
Yeah.
You could have a concept. Every concept's going to go through the same template.
Right.
It's all those pieces that come around it to make it something whole.
Yeah.
And not just that one story.
Whole and relatable.
Exactly. And I would even say that was Star Wars because we saw multiple people taking their own journeys.
Obi-Wan.
Han Solo, Leia.
You saw
R2-D2 and C-3PO.
Absolutely. 100%.
Even at the very last one with C-3PO and R2-D2, they were wrapping up their whole deal. They were just kind of
R2-D2 is the hero of Star Wars. In case you guys didn't know,
100%.
He is the sorcerer.
He is.
Yeah. He eclipsed Obi-Wan.
Yeah, and Yoda. He's like, psh.
Yeah.
Yoda.
Fuck Yoda.
Where's Yoda at? He ain't opened up this door on Endor. I'm doing it.
And it's all she shoots the fucking lightsaber out. I was waiting for that to happen in the last movie.
Yeah.
Rey to be like, put her hand up, and then all of a sudden the fucking lightsaber pops out and it's Luke's green lightsaber.
I will tell you, that was probably one of those moments in the theater, and again, I was super young, but that was one of those moments in the theater where I was just like aghast. I was like,
yeah.
Oh my God.
Whenever he was
just shot that out and he flipped and he caught it and he cut. Oh my God.
Whenever he was on Jabba's sail barge and he's like, and they're all just looking at each other nodding. Doom, doom. Doom, doom.
When you see it's Lando behind the thing earlier. And you're like,
oh, shit's about to go down in this motherfucker. And fucking Boba Fett's a chump in that movie, but yet he's so badass and everything else.
It's just because he looks cool.
And he's like, Boba Fett, Boba Fett, and then he's like, he gets killed by a fucking blind Han Solo. Come on.
It's Han Solo's luck, though.
I know, right? He's the bumbling luck.
Especially if you go back to the newer Solo movie, right?
Yeah.
It's all about luck.
Fucking hell yeah, it was. And that was a cool movie. I liked that movie.
Yeah, it was good.
I really did.
It took me a minute to watch it, but you convinced me.
Yeah. I thought, it's not as good as Rogue One. I think Rogue One, compared to any of the newest stuff that has come out, is probably got to be one of the best Star Wars movies ever.
It's just different, and like you said earlier, it supports everything, but it's just a different kind of a story, know?
And it's different enough to not play into the same template.
Exactly.
And it's different enough to be, wow, this is not what I expected. Because you have an expectation from Star Wars.
Yeah.
From 9 movies, you already understand the template psychologically, almost spiritually.
Yeah.
And here you have something somewhat similar bucket, so to speak, similar fertilizer, but a completely different paint job.
Yeah.
And it's taking and it's connecting point A, B, C, D, and E to L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S.
Yes.
Agreed.
Okay.
No, I would say the first 3 Star Wars movies, 4, 5, and 6, are in that order, are the best. But then I put Rogue One right after that.
I would probably go. So my debate is always, as a youth, Return of the Jedi was by far my favorite Star Wars movie.
Fucking A, yeah.
As I got older, I really started enjoying Empire a little bit more, just because of the conflict, I think, and it was a little darker. So that's always I don't know which one of those is my top one. I would put New Hope as like my third, probably, though.
Jedi is my favorite out of all of them.
Yeah.
It really is. Just because I was 4 years old and I probably saw it like 4 times in the theater, you know. I can remember the last time I saw it, you know, and that was in Dallas. I remember the theater, and I can take you there right now.
I remember the air conditioning being out in the theater.
Ooh.
And I was 8 years old, I don't know, you know, and the lucky son of a bitch that took me to this movie sweat through this whole motherfucker with me.
That's love.
It was a great movie. You know, I mean, I was like everything to me at the time, you know.
Jedi was the shit. And, you know, Rogue One, again, shattered those same barriers but connected everything, and you really cared for those characters. Yeah. Every single one of those characters. Except for maybe the bullet.
Except you
bring in the bullet.
Kind of knowing their fate, you know?
Yeah. You knew what was going to happen. You still, at the very end of that movie, you were just waiting for fucking that robot to pull up and be like, come on.
Taxi,
you know?
taxi.
Yeah,
Did you call a lift? Did you call a lift? That's just it.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm your lift driver. Let's go. Come on. Get in the back. Let's roll, motherfuckers.
I just wanted them to live and then like somehow be put back into it. But now they're going to create the whole, the TV show about K2SO and fucking Home Dude. Why? They don't need that. It's a great standalone. Yeah.
I'm excited to see the Ewan McGregor Obi-Wan show.
Oh, fucking A, man.
That'll be amazing.
Think about that.
I like Ewan McGregor and I like Obi-Wan, so that was perfect.
So think about The Shining, since we were talking about Dr. Sleep earlier. Mm-hmm. Think about The Shining. Who is the hero in that?
The wife.
Ooh, that's right. Because in Dr. Sleep, he does say that woman has paid her debt.
Yeah.
Because that's right. Because Danny Torrance's story is really Dr. Sleep.
Yep.
That's his hero's journey. He goes through the bottom, gets all the way up to the top. Have you seen it?
I don't think so.
Oh my God. You got HBO, right?
Oh, yes.
HBO has got the theatrical
and the director's cut on it.
For The Shining?
No,
3
for the Dr.
hours.
Sleep, which is that was King's sequel to The Shining.
Mm-hmm. Oh. So it's all about the
And
little boy.
Ewan
So I saw The Shining.
Yeah.
I mean,
so this is Ewan McGregor
Danny Torrance
playing
grown up.
Danny Torrance grown up.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
It's a fucking great movie. Great movie. Really recommend it.
But we digress a little bit.
Yeah. I guess we
as
can,
usual.
Yeah. I guess we can kind of wrap this one up just because.
Yeah, I think. Honestly, I think we could sit and talk about like a million movies that hit this archetype, a million books, a million stories, because it is intrinsic.
It's an archetype.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's totally in our, like I said, DNA.
And it doesn't matter what they try to bend with any story. The story's got to be that, or there's no rise, there's no fall, there's no reason for you to be gripped.
Correct.
Yeah, and then you don't pay attention.
Yeah,
like
you don't care.
You don't care. That's exactly it. You don't give a shit about that person.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Do you know
that guy was always badass, and now he's still badass?
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Or he was a fucking wiener, and now he's still a wiener. Who cares? You know what I mean? There's no growth there.
Wiener.
I was going to say something else, and I thought,
Well, I mean, tell me if you know this one. Do you know the plot of Frankenhooker? Because I don't. Because I don't think it I don't think it goes into the whole mythos. You know? And don't get me wrong. I guess Frankenhooker's a good movie to some people.
Does Eraserhead follow that?
Holy shitballs. Ooh, fucking David Lynch raises a whole bunch of new possibilities.
That's a whole separate podcast.
Damn. David Lynch is... Yeah, he's all over the fucking place, man. He is not non-linear. Yeah. Which is great. Yeah, love David Lynch. Anyway, Sean, thanks for coming by.
Thank you for having me back,
really
guys. Thank
awesome.
you for inviting me back.
Of course.
Next time, I'll bring snacks, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Don't know what they'll be,
Okay.
but they'll be snacks.
I'm down.
Turkey legs.
Well, Renaissance Fair is coming up.
Oh,
there
shit.
you go.
Are they going to have it?
Now, may I digress for
Of course.
just a moment?
Absolutely.
Now, June 13th, I took as a vacation day because I want to go to fair on opening day at Larkspur. And they said, sorry, we're not doing that. And of course, everybody's like, what? And they say, we're not canceling, we're postponing. So now opening day will be 1 August.
Okay.
So I took that day off. But have you been to fair near the end of the run of fair with monsoons and 100-degree heat in the forest? At about 2 o'clock, it's clockwork, not orange, but close. It'll rain for 15 to 20 minutes. So it becomes post-1518 England with mud everywhere. Because if you look at the word Britain and take out certain letters, it'll spell rain. And there's a reason for that.
And most of the people that live there will agree with that.
100%.
Well, Larkspur is only like a town of how many?
I don't know,
Very
several hundred,
small.
maybe at best a few thousand.
Maybe, yeah.
But to go from 1 August to like middle of September, so I'm like,
Damn.
this is going to be great because we're going to have fair, and I'm excited. But if you ever go in garb and it's hot and then it becomes muggy, you want to just fall on your own sword. You really do.
There's a lot of butt sweat.
Oh my! Oh yeah, no. And the human perfume.
Ooh.
I'll just put it that way because there's far more descriptive words. But the human perfume at the end of fair, the final weekend, when you realize I don't have to take a shower because it's the final weekend. It's closing weekend of fair.
It smell like BO and barbecue.
With turkey legs and old stale beer. Okay? But if you're diehard, it's like, yeah, I work at a pig fertilizer farm. But what is pig fertilizer? What is the smell of pig fertilizer?
Money.
It's the smell of money, my friend. So if you have the right attitude, it is the bomb. Okay?
And actually, you could make a bomb out of that pig fertilizer. But that's a different story.
We won't go down that. No.
Who run Bada Town?
Yeah, no. But, again,
Master
trials and
Blaster.
tribulations, the mythos, the monomythos,
Yes.
the trial and tribulations of going through fair to come out at the end not smelling like a rose. You were supposed to laugh at that. Okay.
Well, I was just thinking about
Thanks.
I thought more was coming. That's
Yeah,
why
me
I
too.
waited.
Well, it was like,
your dramatic pause. caught me off
yeah,
guard.
okay, thank you, great. I'm leaving it here. Thank you, gentlemen, for having me over this week. I appreciate it.
We
I look
appreciate
forward
you.
to now. The next time we meet, I'm going to throw this out there just for the fun of it. Ask your fans what they might think, but let's discuss Rammstein's Deutschland video.
Okay.
All right.
Now, if you haven't seen it,
I don't think that I have.
it's a 9-minute song. It's done by Rammstein.
Okay.
So it goes through German history from Germania 16 AD to Stasi of East Germany.
Nice.
Now, watch the symbolism. Look at it. Highly controversial in Germany. People went absolutely knucking futs because of the Nazis, the concentration camps and all that. But watch it, the pageantry.
Damn.
For me, music, history, it was an incredible, and of course it's Rammstein. Come on.
Right.
I love Rammstein.
Sure.
But take a look at it. See if it's worthy of this council
Okay.
to review and
Yeah,
comment.
might as well. Yeah. I don't
what
see
the
why
hell?
not. Yeah.
If you're going to go through a bunch of 30 littles, okay, on a list of playlists here,
Lils.
Lils,
That's a callback to Quick Cast from last week.
That's right.
Absolutely.
our little playlist.
Your little, yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm thinking. Let's go for something grandiose.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, maybe we can come up with
Some more.
yeah, I was gonna say maybe we can get 3 or 4 videos like that we could watch on some. Yeah, I'm with that.
It's a good idea.
We'll talk.
Yeah.
We'll spitball. But after this show, let's get the hell out of here.
Du heist.
No, not du heist.
I know. Rammstein.
Ich bin Herr Schmitty. La. That means I am Mr. Schmitty. La.
Well,
Your German just, yeah.
well, if you are
I
in
speak French, sir.
En français,
Je te demande spécial Pokémon.
je comprends parler seulement un petit peu français, monsieur. Mein Deutsch ist ja ganz besser als mein Französisch, mein Spanisch und mein Russisch. Aber ich benutze, was ich kann, wenn ich kann.
Danish.
I didn't catch the last part of that.
Ich benutze, was ich kann, wenn ich kann. I use what I can, when I can.
Fair.
Danke.
Pumpkins.
Dunkin' Donuts, man.
I know Texan.
I know enough to curse in about 13 languages, and that's just enough to get me in trouble.
Yes.
All right.
Well, if you're in the Colorado Springs area or Denver area, do hit up in August 1.
August 1st, right.
Yes.
Larkspur.
Hit up the Larkspur medieval, what do they call it?
Renaissance.
Medieval Renaissance Fair, Larkspur.
Yeah. Okay.
Colorado Renaissance
Hit
Fair.
it up. Come out there to see Sean. Come see us. You know, we're in Manitou Springs. You just got to find us. The clues are there.
They're all around you.
Yeah, they're all there. We're at the Springs.
We've always been here.
Come with us, Danny.
Now all podcasts are drop culture.
It's our Septuacentennial. Cupcake in a cup. Yeah, Mitch, we miss you. I love you, buddy. Wish you were here with us on this one. All right. Hit us up on the socials, Drop Culture. Just look us up everywhere. We're there. Tell us what you think about the episode. And if you have any ideas for exactly what Sean was talking about with the Rammstein video, or if there's something that we need to watch that kind of goes through that, that would be pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Got a little mixtape to send us. Do that. Send us emails. Just look Drop Culture up. We're everywhere.
Jump on our website, www.dropculture.com. Check out our new store and our new Friends of the Page. Or
Friends of the show.
Page.
Yeah, we actually have the Not For Everyone podcast on there, and our new personal lawyer.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're ramping up on that one. You know what I mean? So
I think we have some music friends on there as well, correct?
We got all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
The Anonymous Collective here in Colorado Springs, Glenn out there. Yeah, we're growing, and we're going to take over the motherfucking world. All right, later.
Peace.
Out.
Dun, 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 dun.
When you see it's Lando behind the thing earlier, and you're like,
Oh, shit's about to go down in this motherfucker.